we had a 4 point lead. I think had a couple opportunities to push it to 6 or 8, or 7 or 9. Missed a couple, wide open threes, which that happens. But we had two really careless travels that are kind of uncharacteristic, and then we threw one away in transition that really stalled us from pushing that out a little bit. And I think it was 13-11, if I recall, with about six and some change left, and they went. I don't know. It was 23-2, 19-4. I think it was 19-4 run there in the last 6 minutes, and um, when you put that much pressure on your defense because you're struggling to score, um, eventually the dam's going to break, right? And we just couldn't find enough. We just couldn't throw it in. We just couldn't make a basket. I mean, honestly, just couldn't make a basket. I thought outside of one, I thought Monty maybe taking a bad shot. He tried to get Pavlevsky up in the air and it didn't work, and we forced one there. And then I think Devin took a tough three out of end of a shot clock. But other than that, I thought they were pretty good looks. But you shoot 26% the first half, you're going to struggle. Put ourselves behind, dug ourselves a pretty big hole. I thought the second half we were much more aggressive offensively. Like even in the first half, we drove and they played volleyball with one of our shots early, and it spooked us, and we didn't go in there. Like we weren't aggressive. I thought the second half we had much more purpose and aggressive in our attack and attacking the rim and getting there. I think that was evident by the free throws that we were able to shoot the second half. Um, and I thought our defense was pretty solid, throughout. I thought we did a good job on Simmons. I think in the second half, I think what we cut it to 6 maybe. Yeah, I think we got it to 6. And then Pavlevsky's just a really good player, man. I got a lot of respect for what he's about and who he is as a player. And it got to 6. We died on consecutive ball screens where we got dinged right in the middle of the floor. We just kind of leaned on them and didn't fight through them. It caused us to over help from the corners, and he made consecutive really good reads and excellent passes on point, on time, on target, one to each corner where they hit threes. And then he got an and one. And then we forced him to go all the way down to an end of a shot clock. He made an unbelievable play where he just got fouled. And that's what really good players do. And I think he's a really good player. I'm glad his eligibility's up. But I thought he just kind of took the game over at that point in the game and really separated it. But I thought for 34 minutes we probably played some pretty good basketball, particularly on the defensive end. But we there was a 6 minute spurt there where we didn't have an answer for.
Yeah, coach, you talk about the second half, and I wanted to ask, it kind of looked like, two different teams for you guys. The second half, you looked much more controlled, more effort, like you said. Fire was there. What did you tell these guys at halftime to kind of see that turnaround?
I wouldn't. I would kind of balk back at you, and I don't think you meant it anyway. Like I thought our effort was good the first half. Just
Yeah.
couldn't make a shot, right? And then, like I said, like when you put that much pressure on the defensive end of the court because you can't score, then you start nitpicking, micromanaging mistakes. And I thought we followed the scouting report really well. I thought we gave Simmons a lot of trouble. Hadaway got away from us, and Pavlevsky is just the best player on the floor. But at halftime was probably not what you think. Like it was, um, very very calm talking to these guys about, hey man, relax. Like I think we're being a bit passive on offense. I think we're settling for mid ranges. Like be shot ready, continue to shoot them. You got an open shot, shoot them. They're gonna fall. Like trust your work. You know, we talked about not allowing that in to affect the defense, even though I know from a human, it's just really difficult to do. Um, continue to do the right things, continue to play more aggressive. I told them about how I didn't think we were attacking the rim as strong as we could. Obviously, I thought we did a great job of that in game one. I thought we did a really good job of this the second half of game two. We didn't have that attack the first half. Why we were pulling up, shooting the mid range instead of getting to the rim, I don't know. Other than maybe they spooked us on that block, but like You got to continue to go in there and fight. These guys did a lot of good things for 34 minutes. We just had a 6 minute stretch, and we're just not um, the way we're built and constructed at this point. Like we're not able to overcome that.
Yeah, and you mentioned how the team still started off strong in the first half with around 8 minutes left. In the first half, you guys were on a 7-0 run, forced 6 turnovers. And then about 4 minutes later, Ohio was on the start of a 21-0 run. Was that what contributed to that? Was it just the lack of shooting, or was there anything else that went into that?
But we went like 5 minutes without scoring a point. I mean, like you can only like you're not going to pitch a shutout. And I thought, I don't know exactly the time. It was six and some change. Am I right, Justin? 13-11 and with some six and some change on the clock. Um, and I mean, it's 13-11. I mean, it's probably like your defense is not an issue. We couldn't make a shot. And then, the dam broke, right? They made, I mean, they had Javon Simmons makes a three. Like, I think that was his fourth made three of the season, like, but, they see the ball go in and it ramps up. They had a promo night. They do, I guess I was talking to students, they do something every night here. They get something every night and had a good crowd, good atmosphere. The students were into it. Community was into it. Probably, outside of Wisconsin, unless I'm missing something. A really good atmosphere for our guys to play in tonight. And they got rolling there in the last 6 minutes, and we didn't have any answer for it. But I thought we came out the second half, played really well, did a lot of good things. Again, it was just that 6 minute stretch where we just we couldn't score a bucket, and we didn't get a stop there for a 6 minute period of time. But
You know, after the last
these guys average what 80 something. I think they average 80 something a game, and to hold them to 69, held them to 42% shooting. That's pretty good for us. Like it's not good for but it's good for us from a defensive standpoint.
after the last game, you talked about silly mistakes and little errors. Did you see a lot of that tonight, or do you think you guys cleaned up in
I
that?
think we got better, but there's still some. Like I said, I thought scouting report we did really good. There's a few things like just in the middle of the game, heat of the moment, like um, uh, Sheldon makes a big three. Um, there's like 4 seconds, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Devin's out there on him. Like there's a shot clock right in front of you. You've been playing defense for quite some time. It's got to be at the end of the side. It's a quick glance, like, and we got our hands down. Like you got to have a hand up. You got to force him to drive, make a play. You're running out of time, and we just like he just looks at him and just like oh, and just bang three, right? Um, I think Mason got driven on a time. Hadaway's going to take a really messed up spinning shot off balance, and we just karate chop and send a guy to the line for two free throws. We come up, we screw up a switch. We switched coverages because Pavletsky was picking us apart. We were dying on those ball screens, so we switched coverages. We started switching all five. Um, we don't switch. Simmons rolls us down. They go in. He gets fouled, goes to the line. I would call that like a silly mental error. And then late, the game was over. It was like the last minute. This middle ball screen, we were on the wrong side of the ball screen. And so not as many, like not as many, but they're still there, and they're going like those things are going to happen throughout a course of a game. You try to eliminate as much as possible. These guys have improved in that area a ton, but like I said, like just where we are, we just lack some of that ability. We don't have enough to overcome those things. So you really, it really puts those things. They're magnified. Does that make sense? I mean, because we just don't have enough to overcome that. And these guys keep fighting. They keep trying to get better, and that part is really good.
Yeah, and there you mentioned Devin's mistake on defense when the shot clock was winding down. But what would your evaluation be on him recently, as he got 1,000 career points last week and was the leading scorer tonight with shooting around 60% from the field?
Yeah, he got himself going a little bit, made some shots there in the second half. I think our guard play can continue to improve from um, a vision standpoint and seeing the play and making the right read. I feel like we're missing a lot of things in the middle of the court. Um, and we've talked about the passing, and I don't think it's a reluctance from like a selfish situation. I don't think that's it. I think it's a reluctance in trusting our own ability to deliver those passes. And I think that's, looking back, like, when I evaluate at the end of the year, that's something I got to look at from, the decisions that I made in the off season and taking a couple combos and trying to make them point guards. And that's not on those guys. They're getting better. Um, and I thought he did a lot of good things. I think scoring 1,000 points in a career, that's something that'll be celebrated. I'm sure the next time we're in Worthen is something he should be proud of. And I think he's gotten better throughout the year, and he obviously he did some good things for us tonight.
Yeah, your next game is a pretty quick turnaround. You guys play Friday night. What do you want to see maybe the team work on the next few days leading up to that game?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, Zach, we're not going to have a lot of time to work. I mean, we're going to get back 1:32 in the morning. We have a morning practice slot. Like Wednesday is normally our day off. I think it's a really good thing for our university that our game got moved to Friday. All right. But, getting back at 1:32 in the morning and then, we're going to move our practice to the late afternoon, evening. We're not going to be able to do much, probably some film, some walkthrough, some shooting, obviously. And then get some rest. And then we're going to have a heavy prep day on Friday, but you're not going to be able to do a lot physically on Friday or on Thursday. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to do a lot on Thursday, from a physical standpoint. So heavy mental day. And then you got a chance to put the uniform on again on Friday night and play one of the better teams in the league.